Her voice was the sunshine of the 60s, but her life was a dark storm of self-loathing and abuse. The world remembers the lie that she choked on a stupid ham sandwich. The truth is much uglier. Cass Elliot didn't die from eating. She died of a broken heart and a body destroyed by the ruthless gears of fame that loved her sound but hated her sight. Welcome to Iconic Lives. Today we reveal the tragic truth behind the flower child mask. Born Ellen Naomi Cohen, she was cursed from birth in an image-obsessed world. She possessed an IQ that outshined her peers and a brilliant mind, yet no one saw her intellect. They only saw the fat girl. Brutal bullying defined her childhood. Carving a deep void she tried to fill first with applause, then with dangerous substances. She built the loud, funny Cass persona as a shield to deflect the cruelty, but the wounds inside never healed. She had a voice like velvet, but she was constantly told she was too ugly for show business. She had to claw just to get her foot in the door. The absurd legend that a copper pipe fell on her head and miraculously unlocked her range was a fabricated story to undermine her natural talent. It implied her gift was an accident. She played along, but the industry's refusal to accept her as a #1 star was the first of many humiliations she faced. Joining the mamas and the papas wasn't a dream come true. It was entering a psychological battlefield. John Phillips, the group's genius but manipulative leader, saw Cass as a necessary tool but a visual embarrassment. He controlled the band with mind games and high doses of LSD. Cass was the emotional anchor of their sound, yet she was treated like a second-class citizen in her own band. The harmonies hid the backstage abuse that would destroy them. The deepest knife in Cass's heart was her unrequited love for Denny Doherty. She worshipped him with painful intensity, but Denny only had eyes for the group's beauty, Michelle Phillips. Watching the man she loved have a passionate affair with the other woman in the band was a daily torture designed just for her. It reinforced every insecurity she felt. She was just Mama, the friend, never the object of desire. This castrated her spirit. John Phillips was relentless in his psychological torture. He called her Mama Hates behind her back and constantly mocked her weight. He made her feel grateful just to be allowed on the same stage as the beautiful people. He used her insecurity like a leash. The era of free love was a lie for Cass. She was trapped in a sexualized environment where she felt unwanted and exploited. Phillips broke her spirit systematically to keep her obedient. To cope with the pain of rejection and the pressure of fame, Cass dove headfirst into the drug culture of the 60s. It wasn't just fun. It was medicine for a shattered soul. LSD became a regular escape, blurring the edges of a reality she hated. The group's creative sessions were fueled by narcotics that opened their minds but destroyed their emotional stability. Cass used drugs to numb the constant feeling of never being enough for anyone there. The summer of love had a very dark side for Cass. In the hedonistic atmosphere of Laurel Canyon, she was often the woman left out, or worse, used by men who wanted proximity to her fame rather than her affection. Her desperate need to be loved made her vulnerable to emotional predators. In an era advertising freedom but offering exploitation for women who didn't fit the mold, she engaged in disastrous flings just to prove her own sexual worth. Her home became a sanctuary for the counterculture's dangerous elements, attracting dealers, hustlers, and leeches. Whispers connected her circle to international drug smugglers and even dark figures surrounding the Manson family, like Pick Dawson. While Cass wasn't a criminal mastermind, her desperate need for connection drew her into dangerous orbits where hard drugs and illicit activities were the norm. She was dancing right on the edge of the cliff. The year 1967 brought a bizarre and humiliating low point. On a trip to London, Cass was arrested for stealing blankets and keys from an apartment she had stayed in previously. It was a petty, desperate act, perhaps fueled by drugs or a mental breakdown. The media, always eager to tear her down, had a field day. Headlines branding Mama Cass a thief were another blow to her fragile self-esteem, painting her as unstable rather than talented. When the mamas and the papas exploded under the weight of infidelity and drugs, Cass was left adrift. The toxic family structure that defined her adult life was gone, leaving her isolated with her demons. She had money and fame, but the deepest wounds from John, Michelle, and Denny remained unhealed. She was now a solo superstar, yet the loneliness was crushing. The silence in her mansion was louder than the screams of the crowds who adored her. Her solo career started with massive hits like Dream a Little Dream of Me, proving she was the real talent. However, the pressure increased. There was no one left to hide behind. Every criticism of her appearance was directed squarely at her. She felt the immense burden of carrying her own brand while battling a severe crisis of self-doubt. The industry demanded she be a happy, bubbly diva, while inside she was crushed by expectations and pain. In 1968, she signed a massive contract for a residency in Las Vegas. It was supposed to be her coronation. Instead, it was a public execution. On opening night, physically sick from crash diets and mentally unstable from drug withdrawals, she collapsed. Her voice failed her. The audience walked out. The reviews were brutal, calling it a total disaster. It was a cruel humiliation that shattered her confidence and pushed her further into depression. Desperate for acceptance, Cass inflicted terrible torture on her body. She went on extreme, dangerous crash diets, fasting for days or living on strange substances to lose weight rapidly. These violent fluctuations ruined her metabolism and strained her heart. She was killing herself to fit an impossible standard. Her relationship with food was a violent cycle of starvation and binging, a manifestation of deep-seated self-hatred and industry cruelty. Amidst this chaos, she decided to become a mother. She gave birth to her daughter Owen, refusing to name the father to protect him from the spotlight. Motherhood brought her immense joy and a new sense of purpose, but also added a terrifying layer of anxiety. She was scared to death that her daughter would grow up in the same superficial world that hurt her. She tried to create a sanctuary for Owen while her own life remained a tornado of instability. As the 60s turned into the darker 70s, Cass's habits shifted too. Playful psychedelics gave way to harder substances. Cocaine became a fuel to get through grueling schedules, and heroin was rumored to be a way to numb the deep, lingering ache of loneliness. Her body, already weakened by yo-yo dieting, was taking a severe beating. She was barely functioning, living on a cocktail of substances just to get through the day and maintain that fake face. In 1974, she returned to London for a run of shows at the Palladium. It was a massive comeback. She was applauded, respected, and finally felt accepted as a serious artist. For a brief, shining moment, it seemed she had conquered her demons. The adulation was intoxicating. She called Michelle Phillips, ecstatic, saying she had finally made it on her own terms. It was the highest peak she could reach, making the impending fall even more tragic. She was staying at Harry Nilsson's flat in London, a place that would soon become infamous. Exhausted from the shows and years of abuse on her body, she went to sleep after a triumphant night. She never woke up. She died in the same bed where Keith Moon from The Who would die just 4 years later, cementing the apartment's reputation as a cursed spot for rock tragedies. For a woman who always yearned for a home, it was a lonely end in a borrowed bed. The first doctor to see her body made a flippant, incorrect guess to the press, suggesting she choked on a ham sandwich found nearby. This lie spread like wildfire. It was a final, ultimate insult. Even in death, she was reduced to a fat joke. The media preferred a grotesque image of gluttony over the painful truth. The sandwich myth became her legacy, overshadowing her immense talent and the true tragedy of her early departure from this world. The truth was far less sensational, but much sadder. Cass Elliot died of heart failure at just 32. Her heart, weakened by years of extreme obesity, dangerous crash diets, and drug use, finally gave up. She was a victim of a superficial industry that consumed her talent but rejected her personhood. She sang about dreaming a little dream, but her own life was a nightmare of insecurity and abuse that eventually stopped her big, fragile heart.